So the topic I chose for the podcast assignment was depression, the secret we share. Many people around the world are suffering from depression. Depression can be crippling. Andrew Solomon speaks of an academic who was doing a research project where she would pick up women who would come in for other health problems and would diagnose them with depression and provide them with 6 months of experimental protocol. One of the women who came in, who had also had 7 children, talked about how she had a job that she had to give up because she could not go outside the house. She stated that she had nothing to say to her children and that every morning she could not wait for them to get up and leave. Then she would climb back in bed and pull the covers over her head. She talks about how she would take Tylenol, anything she could do to sleep more. Sometimes it can be difficult to find the right treatment, but once we do, it could change our lives. Andrew Solomon speaks of a man by the name of Frank Grusakov. Frank had the worst case of depression Andrew had ever seen. He would constantly be depressed, and to the point where every month he would have an electric shock treatment. He would feel disoriented 1 week, okay for 1 week, have 1 week of going downhill, and have another week of electric shock treatment. Frank said he could not continue to live this way, and he knew how he would end his life if things did not improve. He heard about a procedure called a cingulotomy, which is a brain surgery that he wanted to try. Frank had so many bad experiences with different treatments, and yet he was still going to give this one a try. The surgery was successful, and now Frank has a wife and 2 children that he lives happily with. Andrew Solomon states that the opposite of depression is not happiness but vitality. What I get from this is that depression can hinder your ability to live life. Andrew speaks of his own experience with depression, where he talks about how he would come home and see that there was messages left for him on his answering machine, but instead of being thrilled to get back to his friends, he would instead think about how it was a lot of people he would have to call back, or how he would have to decide to have lunch, and then would think about how he would have to go through a process of getting the food out, putting it on a plate, and chewing it. I believe this is a fitting example of how depression can really alter your mind and is something that should be taken seriously that could affect all levels of society.